Anthony Michael Oscar Koveleski was a pioneer in slot racing in the hobby industry. He established Auto World in 1958 in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and was later one of the founders of Car Model magazine, as well as introducing countless number of children to racing and slot car racing. A racer from the 1950s and 60s whose life passion became model cars and airplanes, Koveleski is likely best known through his aforementioned Auto World model car HO scale models and slot car business that he formed in 1958 in a friend's basement in Scranton, PA. He funded it by cashing in a $300 life insurance policy. Auto World started not as a store, but a mail order company we operated out of my friend Bob Smitty Smith's basement, Koveleski said in an interview posted to the Auto World website. Because of our aggressiveness and knowledge, we became important to real enthusiasts and manufacturers. My wife and I did the first catalogs on the kitchen table and ironing board. Our first 2 of 4 kids got to like licking the glue on the stamps. Our first ad cost $55, send certified check, as there were no credit cards or quick banking then, in Hot Rod magazine for a monogram dragster. It worked. Well, kind of. At $1 or so a kit, you have to sell a lot of them. I had a recurring problem with a bad back I injured several times, once in the Army as a passenger in a Jeep rollover, which had me flat out in bed off and on for years, but careful exercise and effort got rid of it. But in the meantime, mail order was something I could do in or out of bed. Originally from Music, Pennsylvania, where he was born in 1932, the first son of Tony and Ann Koveleski, Oscar grew up with the passion of his father's love for hobbies, automobiles, and racing. He enjoyed a racing career spanning 3 decades, starting in 1950 when he was 18 years old as a member of the Sports Car Club of America's Philadelphia region. Oscar Koveleski won his first SCCA regional race in 1951 at Bone Stadium in Pittston, Pennsylvania, at the wheel of a 1948 MGTC. He raced regularly throughout the 1950s and 1960s in SCCA regional and national races, being also a frequent participant in endurance races such as the 24 Hours of Daytona and the 12 Hours of Sebring. Between 1969 and 1972, Oscar Koveleski was a regular competitor in the Can-Am Challenge Cup, driving his orange 54 McLaren Chevrolet, which became an icon with its original paint scheme and one of the most recognized cars in the series. Koveleski took a career's best finish of 4th at Road Atlanta in 1970 in an era where competing against the likes of Bruce McLaren, Mark Donohue, and Denny Hulme was a challenge. Lifelong president of the PRDA, Polish Racing Drivers of America, Oscar Koveleski founded the association in 1971 along with fellow racers of Polish origins Tony Adamowicz and Brad Nemechek. That same year, the three participated in the original Cannonball Baker Sea to Shining Sea Memorial Trophy Dash, sharing a Chevy van loaded with 5 55-gallon drums of gas in an attempt to win it non-stop. They took a second-place finish behind Dan Gurney and Brock Yates, senior editor of Car and Driver magazine. After his retirement from active racing, he served on the board of directors of the Motor Racing Safety Society. He actively promoted SCCA events in his home state of Pennsylvania at Pocono Raceway. Koveleski was inducted into the SCCA Hall of Fame in 2015. RRDC President Bobby Rahal was quoted as, "Oscar Koveleski was a treasure. His outspokenness and passionate demeanor in trying to convince you of the importance of his latest project were the essence of his personality. Never quitting, always promoting, in such a charismatic way that one just couldn't say no." In 1970, he won the ASR National Championship at Road Atlanta, beating 27-time national champion Jerry Hansen by just 1/10 of a second. From 1969 through 1972, Oscar was a regular competitor in the SCCA Can-Am classes. RDC, which stands for Road Racing Drivers Club, member John Dinkle, who knew Oscar Koveleski as well as anyone, wrote a humorous and compelling story about Oscar that I will read here. So many people have Oscar stories. For example, in early 1970s, a sports racing runoffs medal presentation at Road Atlanta when Oscar finished second to Jerry Hansen, but totally dominated the podium interviews, cracking wise and telling jokes. These two Polish guys were hunting. It was getting dark and they were lost. First guy says, I read somewhere if you're lost in the woods, fire 3 shots in the air, and if anybody's near, they'll come find you. Second guy says, okay, and fires off 3 shots. 10 minutes, no help. So he fires 3 more shots, but no help comes. After a dozen tries, the second guy says, this don't seem to be working, and anyway, I'm running out of arrows. Oscar never seemed to run out of arrows. The following was written by Oscar's friend, John Dinkle. Oscar's promotional skills were legendary. He could talk the hide off a horse. He was a motor mouth, a compulsive conversationalist. Everyone knew when Oscar was in the room. And I write all of this with the utmost of respect and admiration. But beyond the talk, Oscar was a doer, a man of action, a man of accomplishment. Oscar learned how to fly through the air at the age of 9 and along the ground 9 years later at a time when 18 was the legal age at which the SCCA allowed drivers to compete on track. He won his first race in 1951, and he regularly competed in the SCCA regional and national races. In 1958, Oscar created Auto World, the company and the catalog, and he became the go-to guy for anyone from the age of 5 to 105 interested in slot cars, model cars, and racing paraphernalia. You might say Oscar was responsible for putting slot car racing on the map and on the track. In the late 1960s, he purchased a year-old McLaren and competed in the Can-Am, the best and most competitive open-rules professional racing series ever created. The cars were undeniably the most powerful, the fastest, and the most dangerous sports cars imaginable and unimaginable. And on the amateur side, Oscar took a McLaren to the SCCA ASR National Championship in 1970, beating the nearly unbeatable Jerry Hansen by a tenth of a second. A hard-nosed Polak from the rough-and-tumble side of Scranton, PA, Oscar involved himself in every aspect of the racing game, from serving on the board of directors of the SCCA to promoting races at Pocono Raceway for nearly 2 decades. He also led the charge to promote the Peter Brock-designed Shelby Can-Am car, an SCCA spec racer with 3.3-liter V6 Chrysler motor designed to build upon the success of Formula Renault. And I can't forget the infamous Hop Rod, which I road tested for R&T. Oscar's passions for racing and promotion were topped only by his passion for kids and kid racing. I helped Oscar develop his second-generation kid racer, which we took to tracks around the country where kids from the ages of about 4 to 7 were taught the fundamentals of racing, how to corner, how to pass, the different flags, and racing courtesy. You would be black flagged and pulled off the track if you engaged in bumping other cars. Oscar was also a bit of a philosopher, and he had 2 favorite expressions. One was, history is no mystery. The other is, there are 3 types of people in this world. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what happened. Oscar made things happen. He also happened to be a friend, to me, and to everyone in the racing community, and especially the kids. Today we've delved into the legacy of Oscar Koveleski, the visionary behind Auto World and a pioneer in the world of slot cars. His contributions to this hobby are nothing short of extraordinary. His passion, innovation, and tireless dedication sculpted an entire industry, bringing joy to countless enthusiasts worldwide. Through Auto World, Koveleski didn't just sell toys, he ignited imaginations, fostering creativity and skill in hobbyists of all ages. His commitment to excellence in design and manufacturing set a standard that reverberates in the slot car community to this day. Let us not overlook the profound impact of Koveleski's marketing prowess. His strategies didn't merely sell products, they cultivated a culture, an enduring love for slot cars that transcends generations. In the annals of slot car history, Oscar Koveleski stands as a luminary, a trailblazer whose legacy resonates in every curve and straightaway of the tracks enthusiasts still race on. Let us honor his indelible mark on this beloved pastime and celebrate the man whose passion accelerated the world of slot cars to unparalleled heights.